Hey everyone, welcome to the Weeb Lounge. And this is a little bit of an informational slash rant on Gacha Games. And they call Gacha Games that for a reason, because once you get into them, they got your money. Now, Gacha Games are all over the place, especially if you like anime type games. Okay, we're talking, Arc Knights, Fate Grand Order, Princess Connect Redive, and a whole ridiculous slew of games that are basically just gacha games. What is a gacha game? Basically, you pay money for currency in this game and you use that to try to get items and or characters in the game. The problem is, and this is why you have to really beware of these games, is that some of them are actually really predatory. Now, there is a bit of a standard with these games, and that's, you kind of call it the 10 pool. Okay, the 10 pool is basically you spend so much of this in-game currency that you can buy with real money for a certain amount of items and or characters, and within that, if you do the 10 pool, which varies by game, you're guaranteed at least a little something, right? A little something that ain't just garbage, because in these gacha games, most of what you pull is going to be complete and utter garbage. So how do you know what games are predatory, that are basically just trying to get your money, and which ones are kind of fair about it? That you can spend a lot of money in any of these, but there's some where you can play the game, you can have fun, throw them a little bit of cash here and there maybe, and you can just have fun, enjoy the game without having to take out a loan or anything. And take this from a guy who has probably spent enough on these gacha games to go out right now and buy like a brand new Chevy Camaro SS fully loaded. Yes, that's how ridiculous it has been for me, and that is why I hope you'll listen to my advice a little bit. All right, here we go. First up, you need to know what these gacha games, how easy is it for you to earn this premium currency playing the game itself? That is a big factor, because there's that, and there's also the percentage rates to get the rarest items in these gacha. Typically, most all of them, it's all about getting the rarest characters. All the other stuff just seems to kind of come along. It's always about the characters, about the waifu, and all that kind of stuff. So, first thing you want to know is how much of this premium currency, typically called quartz, can you get just playing the game normally? Well, kind of a rule of thumb, let's say you have everything in the game completely done. Okay, because any of these games that's been out even for just a little bit, if you just jump in and start playing them, you're going to start earning quartz like mad, and playing for hours on end, if they do it right, to where you get a lot of this currency and eventually you blow through it pretty quick. But let's say you have everything more or less caught up, more or less done. You're just kind of logging in and doing the daily things, okay? Now, a game that is kind of fair, I guess you could say, will give you enough of that premium currency just logging in and doing the dailies for at least two of those 10 pulls. Now, let's take Fate Grand Order, for example. To do a 10 pull, now 11 pull on Japan's side, it takes 30 quartz. Now, how long does it take you to get 30 quartz just logging in, doing the dailies and such? How many of those 10 pulls can you do just logging in daily, not including special events? Now, a game that is fair to you, it's being okay, kind of fair to you, you're going to be able to do at least two of those 10 pulls every month without having to pay a dime. That's fair. If you're not spending money, you don't get as many chances, but hey, you get the stuff, right? That's kind of an average. A generous one, you might be able to get 3 or 4, maybe even higher. A very predatory one, you're lucky to get a free pull in a given month. Now, let's take Fate Grand Order as a prime example of predatory. Now, it has the login bonus over time. It has special events, just like every one of these games do. But, and I've played this game a ridiculous amount, if I'm able to do a free 10 pull a month, it's a little bit of a stretch. If you factor in the 50-day, whatever it is for, well, 30, I can't even remember. I played for so long, I can't remember. It's like 50-day bonus or whatever, and you get like basically a pool to do there. If you don't factor that in, you're really lucky to be able to do a single 10 pool. Logging in daily, doing the quests. I mean, once you got all the quests done, other than the daily, you can't earn quartz. So you have to wait for special events and such. So in Fate Grand Order, it's really hard to just grind that. Now let's take another game a little bit to the opposite. Let's take Princess Connect, for example. Princess Connect has multiple dailies, different chances to earn quartz, doing arenas, doing all these other things. And generally over time, you can find yourself probably doing 2 to maybe even 3 full 10 pools every month. It's not that bad. And all the events and everything that they come out with really help you to get quartz. So that's one of the things that you have to look at. Standard end game play. Do you earn enough to get some free 10 pulls, or are you barely even able to do it once a month? If you're not even able to do it once a month or just barely, consider that game somewhat predatory. If you're able to do 2 or even 3 a month, just casually logging in, that game's a little bit more on the fair side. Now, take that and combine it with the gacha chances, because it might be giving you a lot of quartz, a lot of paid currency or whatever. But if your chances of getting anything is virtually nil, then what's the point, right? So you have to combine that with percentages. Okay, most of these we're going to be talking about, and most of those you're going to reference are trying to get your characters, whether it's Megumin in Konosuba, Fantastic Days, whether it's, Saber Artoria in Fate Grand Order, or, maybe Pecorine in Princess Connect. It all depends on the percentages. Now, what I have actually found is games that tend to get like the best character, the 5-star character, the super rare character. A fair game is going to have that sitting right about 3%. Games that go a little higher than that often make it harder to get the quartz or the paid currency. Games that go lower than that sometimes let you earn more, but yeah. So 3% is kind of like your fair base. If it's sitting around 2%, it really matters on how good or easy or difficult it is to get that quartz over time, standard play. If it's 1% or less in some cases, that is about as predatory as it gets, because your chances of getting anything is okay. So what are some games for the examples? I'm going to give you 2. First one, Princess Connect Redive. Now, in order to get a 3-star character, which is their highest character, it is a 2.5% chance to get one per pool in a 10 pool. So 10 chances at 2.5%. Now, that seems a little bit under average, but when you factor in the fact that you can get that paid currency in the game logging in, and it's a fair and decent amount, it's actually pretty fair. I can't say I have much complaint with it. But what may surprise you is probably the most predatory game, in my opinion, is also it is the biggest gacha game of them all. Fate Grand Order. I have found this out the hard way. Let's put it this way. There was a time a few years ago when I had some disposable income there. Too much? Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to get a certain 5-star character. And I really wanted it. So I figured, okay, I'm going to buy some quartz. I do so. I use the quartz. Don't get the character. So I'm like reluctant. I'll spend some more or whatever. Didn't get it. And then you start thinking, okay, well, I've spent this much money. I might as well go ahead and spend some more and make sure I get it. $1,000 later, one copy of this card. I was pretty livid. But this is why. Okay, one, the premium currency in these games is always pretty high priced. They want to get you money. That's the whole point of a gacha game. But in Fate Grand Order, it's hard to get the quartz on your own, just playing through. And to get that 5-star character, 1% chance. That's it. So not only is the game really hard to earn the quartz in the game itself, the chance of getting what you want is incredibly, incredibly low. And they motivate you to NP5, which basically means get 5 copies of that character. Combine them to make them the most powerful as possible. That is incredibly predatory. And how do they get away with it? Well, that's actually pretty easy. It's the most popular. It has a vast number of waifus, incredibly, incredibly popular characters that are very much looted over everything. And the game itself is a good game. You know, playing the game through, I've played it way too much. But my advice to anyone out there playing Fate Grand Order or considering these gachas with the low percentage chances is explore other games. I dug around Konosuba. I eventually went to Princess Connect after avoiding it for a while. I didn't want to play Princess Connect Redye because it sounded like a real girly game, a bunch of princesses dancing around. I didn't even really look into it. It's not what it is. It's not what it is. It's funny, it's a fun game, and there's so much more to do in that game compared to Fate Grand Order or Konosuba Fantastic Days than a lot of the other ones that I played. Like there was Evertale and a couple others. You need to explore and look around, and if you're going to spend money in these games, be cautious, really cautious. For one, make sure you're going to be playing the game for a long time, and 2, don't overdo it. I overdid it. My God, I overdid it. I probably paid for Fate Grand Order servers myself for several months. Okay, that's how bad it is. Oh, man. So, how do you know what the percentages are? Well, I don't know if it's a law passed in Japan, but I remember something along those lines. But just about every single one of these gachas, you go to the gacha screen, there'll be a little information tab. Click the information tab, open it up. It should generally list the percentages of what you're going to get. Your chances of getting a card, a craft essence, a sword, a gun, your favorite waifu, whatever the case may be. Now, that's all well and good, but if it says 1%, I recommend don't play it. 1% is incredibly horrible. And if it doesn't list any percentages at all, do not play that game. Period. If they're not divulging the percentages, that means somewhere, somehow, they're breaking a law. They're breaking a law. In Japan, and I believe the EU, I could be slightly wrong on that, but chances are they're not legit. There's a good chance it's maybe some company out of China. And, you know, plenty of these games out of China are perfectly legit, perfectly fine, but a lot of them are also very predatory, and good luck with that. Installing them on your phone or tablet or whatever device, yeah, probably shouldn't. Rings of Elysium. Yeah, don't do it. But with that, like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Really appreciate it. Subscribe. We are a growing channel, and we got a lot of plans, but we got to grow before we can get to those plans. We'll see you in the next video.